Hey, what's going on, fam? My name is Jamel Tony.
Hey everyone, I'm Lakeisha and welcome to Progressively Becoming.
Just another day.
Get your breath.
That
You was running.
I was running just now. I was running.
So much for joining us for another conversation. We're gonna let Jamel catch his breath. So while you're getting on, as always, make sure you like, comment, and share, and let someone know PB is on now. We are in the building, and every Tuesday, right here, 7 p.m. sharp.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be watching. To all of our podcasters, those listening on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to all of you that may be watching this now. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, you can go ahead and do that at this very. We'll do it after we're done. So after we're done, go ahead, open up your phones, go to the App Store or the Google Play Store. Look for Google, Spotify, iHeart, or Apple Podcasts. And just go ahead and hit that download button and install it. Once it's installed, open it up, search Progressively Becoming in the search bar, and will pop up. You can listen. It's audio only, so you can listen to all of our podcasts, including our 15.6 that is released every month. Now you can go ahead and listen to that on your way to work, while you're working out, walking, whatever it is you're doing. We are there and available to all of you.
Yes, and to our YouTube fam, thank you for watching us. Our YouTubers, those watching on YouTube, we thank y'all for joining as well. So
definitely. So we are.
Busy?
I'm not busy. I needed chapstick.
He was running a marathon
before
he got here.
The countdown was happening. It was like 30 seconds left. I ran all the way upstairs and then couldn't find the chapstick. Ran back downstairs. So if you see me repeatedly doing that, I'm just trying to cure my chapped lips.
Oh, I just told you with some chapstick with that.
Where was it?
It's like right in my bag where I keep it.
Yeah, but I know your bag is like your bag is in abyss. It's like your bag's in abyss.
I keep my chapstick and my lipstick in the same zipper pocket.
Nada. I'm not going in any woman's bags. Nada at all. Yeah, your hand get lost in there. Like seriously.
Anyway,
you end up pulling stuff out you ain't got no business touching.
Anyway,
Nevertheless,
Thursday morning devotion.
Absolutely.
Right here, 6 a.m. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. So make sure that you tell someone, invite someone, tag someone, bring someone along with you. Thursday mornings, every Thursday morning, we are right here, 6 a.m. We will be praying with you and praying for you. Prayer works. We believe in the power of prayer. When we pray, God hears us and He responds. So we will be here every Thursday, 6 a.m. for morning devotion.
Absolutely.
Also, just a reminder that the 15 at 6 is back. That is a monthly encouragement and motivation and inspiration. If you missed it, please download one of those podcast outlets, and you can find us there for 15 at 6. The last one was on September 30th, so make sure you check it out. The conversation, the inspiration was in reference to forgiveness. So I think it's a great topic to discuss. So go back and take a listen. Go take a listen to it. I'm pretty sure it will bless you and encourage you.
Absolutely.
Our coat and clothing drive. You want to say something about that?
Nah, coat and clothing drive. It is happening now. The information is on your screens now. If you have gently used coats and or clothes, I want you to go ahead and text the number 855-997-3031. Information is on your screen. Go ahead and screenshot it.
Yes.
We'll wait. Okay, go ahead and screenshot it. Information is on your screen. In December, we will be having a clothing and coat giveaway in the city of Camden, New Jersey. God is really opening up multiple avenues indoors for us, and we are excited about being an outreach resource in the city of Camden that my wife and I have been called to. Speaking of Camden, we have been called to launch a ministry. The Place of Exchange Worship Center. You can catch us on virtually at the moment on the Place of Exchange Worship Center social media outlets, Facebook as well as YouTube, for the Sunday Exchange.
Yes.
We believe because of the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, there can always, would somebody say always be an exchange in your life, and upon your acceptance of Him, that exchange can take place.
Yes.
So we are committed and devoted to what God has called us to do.
Exactly.
I wanted to say something else. I forgot what it was. So I guess if it comes back to me, I'll talk about it.
All right.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, listen. I'm sorry. There are, some of you that may have just joined the movement, joined the conversation. I want you to be clear as to what progressively becoming is all about. Progressively becoming was a task that God had placed in Lakeisha heart initially. And we talked about it, and we agreed that this is something that God has called us to do. Progressively becoming is designed to help individuals discover the creation and live out the creation and the intention of their lives. God has created all of us to be and become something. And progressively becoming is designed and was designed to help you become, live out the intention behind your creation. So everything we talk about is geared upon becoming the individuals that God has created us to be. And whether you believe it or not, there is something absolutely amazing that you have been called to become. And hopefully, prayerfully, we can add some value into your life to help you on that journey of becoming. It is a journey. Yeah. Every day of our lives, we are progressing. Yeah. Every day of our lives, it does not stop. To the moment we were born up until the moment that God calls us home, we will be progressing into the persons that God has called us to be. This is not a 1 year, one type thing. This is a movement. And we believe that God has empowered us humbly, empowered us to share something with you that can help all of us become the individuals that God has called us to be. If you're excited, I'm excited. Would you put that in the chat? I am progressively becoming.
And becoming our true authentic self.
Definitely.
So definitely. We're taking off the mask, living, getting rid of all the facades that we've had. So discovering what God has intended for our true authentic self.
Absolutely.
So that's what it's all about. Over the past few weeks, y'all, we have been discussing the voices of pride. So we have discussed in detail.
I'm sorry, I just noticed that.
Yeah, I noticed that.
We have a timer, right, so that we can stay on focus.
And
I put the timer to 39 days. So we'll be talking for the next 39 days straight. So just, grab your coffee, grab your pajamas. I don't know. I put it for 39 days.
And the problem with,
I'm sorry, 39 hours.
Yeah, See, this is why normally I do the timer. So I know y'all probably hear it sometime when it goes off to let us know that we're at our time. We continue to talk, through it, but this is why I do it and I'm trying to point to him because when he came back from running the marathon, I'm like, this thing is not moving. He's like, oh yes it is. And when I'm looking at it, I'm like, that look like it says 39 hours, 59 minutes. But nonetheless, this is why.
So this is going to be a long conversation. So
this is
just get ready.
I do the math stuff in the house. But like I was saying, over the past few weeks,
the time ain't went down yet.
I tried to tell you.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Stay where you at. Next week I'll do the time. Anyway, he's like, this time is like the clock, just not progressively becoming.
It's not just clock. Just clock.
For those of you who have new this clock is just a part of progressively becoming, but it doesn't work.
Yes, it is a metaphor to suggest what we are attempting to accomplish: becoming our authentic selves. And when this clock becomes its authentic selves, perhaps we all will as well. But don't look at this clock if you rely on a schedule or something, because it should throw you off.
This is not right. And then sometimes you'll see it just, it
drops.
Moves.
It just moves.
Yeah. It does its own thing.
Yeah, but it's a part of the conversation.
It's a part of the conversation.
Yes.
Shit. And I refuse to get another one. However, so over the past few weeks, we have been discussing the voices of pride, and we have discussed in detail the voice of insecurity and the voice of neglect. Last week, which was actually one of my favorites, was the voice of arrogance. And it was a great conversation. And people are still like talking about that conversation. And I think it's because you actually realize that we all have a voice, that voice of arrogance, like looming in our lives.
Definitely.
So it made me look at myself as well, because we all think we are better than. So just to remind you guys, pride is a high or an inordinate opinion of one's own identity, importance, merit, or superiority, whether as cherished in the mind or displayed in conduct. Pride is not just expressing verbally, but it's in our actions and our beliefs as well.
Absolutely.
So arrogance is having or revealing an exaggerated sense of one's own importance and abilities. So an arrogant person is full of self-worth or self-importance, and it shows that they have a feeling of being superior over others. So don't get it wrong. Like we want to have self-confidence and we want to have self-worth, but when it makes it, when you have that feeling and it's negative towards others and make it seem like you're better than someone, that's where we have a problem.
Correct.
So last week when we discussed the voice of arrogance, we didn't discuss it as how it relates to other people. We pretty much took a closer look at arrogance, how it applies to us in our everyday lives. Because like I said, all of us, we have that voice of arrogance looming around in us. And we've addressed some signs of what being arrogant or being full of arrogance look like.
Yeah.
So just to throw it out there, you ignore other people's opinion. You don't give credit to others. You talk over others, which I was good for that. Your relationships feel superficial. You can't accept feedback, and you worry what other people think about you. Absolutely. So for the full conversation, and like I said, it was a great conversation. And even if you can also get a chance to test yourself, because we did a quiz on last week's conversation. Go check it out on all of our outlets: Google, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, on Facebook, and you will be a part of that conversation. It was a great conversation. So make sure you take a look, take a listen.
It really was. And one of the things I gathered, I think we all learned something. We all saw ourselves in that conversation. If you didn't, perhaps you There's some arrogance there, right? But we all saw ourselves in our conversation. And one of the things that it had me thinking about after the conversation ended was about all of the poor choices and I'm not talking about mistakes. I'm talking about the intentional, purposeful, intentional choices that we made in our lives that really didn't bring any positivity to ourselves. If you was to excavate, if you was to dig up, like all of your poor choices in life, underneath that, you would see the decaying bones of arrogance and pride.
That's good.
Because all of that, sin, right? And I want to use that word sin, which really just means to miss the mark, right? And sin is a result of some form of arrogance and pride in our lives. And it was such an eye-opener, not only for us, but prayerfully it was an eye-opener for you as well. And as my wife said, last week wasn't about anybody else. Last week's conversation was about us.
Right.
And it was moments that as we was talking, I was just like, geez, I've got to do better. You know, because, you know, no one wants to come off as arrogant and pompous and prideful. Right? Because it really affects every area of our lives. And while we should not, you know, too much put total confidence on what other people think about us, the reality is this. How other people think about you affects your ability to help them.
Yeah.
Right? So
it
matters, and we use that word loosely, right? But it does. Because all of us wants to feel appreciated and loved and accepted, and anytime we exhibit any of those arrogant tendencies and prideful qualities, it puts us in positions that no one wants to hear from us or even want to be around us. So it made us look at ourselves, and I'm telling you, last week I had a awakening that there was some arrogant qualities in my life that I need to adjust.
Well, that's good.
And I need to fix.
Well, I'm glad that helped you.
Yeah, it did help me.
Yeah. See, I'm glad this conversation helped because I don't think he would have saw it had it just been me telling him. Yeah. Arrogant.
Perhaps. I would say something on that comment, but let's move on.
See, you learning already. See, that arrogant spirit just try to leak back up. But
so listen, for the purposes of today's conversation, I want to begin this with the conversation. What makes a person consistently talk, act, and even think that they are better than? What makes a person, constantly believe, engage with others, interact with others, out of their mouths, believe that they are better than everybody else? What is the actual voice behind that high opinion of yourself? And for tonight's conversations, we're going to talk about, this is one of the voices of pride. Would you throw it in the chat? It is desperation.
Right.
Desperation. Here's the reality. A prideful person is always crying out. And while we look at them as a figure of strength, the inner of that being is crying out for something.
Right.
It is desperation.
And what desperation is, it's just a state of despair. So typically one which results in like rash and extreme behavior. So people that are prideful are desperate, like for a sense of belonging.
Absolutely.
They're desperate for help and hope. And this desperation causes them to act out in rash ways. And that could be verbally, the way they speak, and through their actions, their behaviors, their decisions.
Absolutely. Correct.
And if you and I was to identify, if we never identify the voice behind the voice,
it always is.
Right. Then we can never be free.
Correct. Yeah. So our actions, the way we think, the way we interact with others, it is, there was a voice behind that voice, right? So I could be talking behind her and she's articulating what I'm saying. Like there's a voice behind the voice. No one is just acting out rashly, right? No one is behaving in rash manners. There's a reason why that person is doing it, right? When pride's voice, listen to us, is rooted in hopelessness and despair. Hopelessness and despair. Pride's voice is rooted in hopelessness and despair. Check this. Despair is an absolute extreme of self-love. Extreme of self-love. And that may sound odd, it may sound crazy. Like, how can the love that I have for myself, how can self-love produce harmful effects? But it can. Self-love can produce harmful effects. Self-love is all about giving yourself permission to receive unconditional love and support from yourself despite the inherent imperfections that come with just being a human, right? It is. However, self-love can be tainted when it is misused as an excuse to get away with certain behaviors, which can often breed toxicity in your interpersonal relationship. Self-love is toxic when it hurts others. When it avoids conflict, self-love is toxic. Are you listening to what we're saying? Self-love is toxic when it exhibits toxic positivity, right? And I'm pretty sure you've heard this saying, and we've all said it. Here it is. We've all heard this saying, and we may have said it ourselves. I'm sorry. We may have said it ourselves. I'm only surrounding myself with positivity. I ain't gonna let nothing drop me down.
Right.
I'm only surrounding myself with positivity.
That's true. I think I've said that before. Or I'm always surrounding myself with positive people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that can be such an amazing and inspiring notion. However, this statement is often said when others are expressing some type of emotion other than happiness or joy. Therefore, it is used to invalidate other people's emotional experience instead of acknowledging and validating them. I'm only want to be around positive people. That's often said in a response to how someone is acting around you.
Right.
And it validates how they feel, and it invalidates their experiences. Right? Toxic self-love. Right? It's love can be toxic when it is an excuse for unhealthy behavior.
Some people think that self-love means doing what feels right for you.
Absolutely. I'm gonna just do me. I'm gonna just do me. I'm gonna do me. Right? I gotta love myself. I'm gonna do me.
But in that though, it can be misused as a way to encourage unhealthy behaviors within ourselves.
Okay. You love yourself and you doing you. It may produce unhealthy behaviors. You do you, but you shouldn't be eating everything that you want to eat. It leads to an unhealthy lifestyle.
Right.
You know, do you, yeah, but perhaps you shouldn't be sleeping with everybody that you come in contact with. It leads to an unhealthy lifestyle. Right. So love yourself, do you, but is it leading to abusing behaviors of yourself? Does it abuse you? Yeah. Does your self-love of yourself abuse yourself?
Wow. That's good.
And you got to ask yourself that question. Is loving me abusing me? Because then is that really love?
Right, it's not.
Yeah. Self-love is toxic when it doesn't allow room for growth. Are you expanding yourself? Are you expanding your horizons? Are you becoming broader in your thinking and in your experiences? Are you growing in life?
Right.
Because oftentimes we may think that, okay, because I love myself, I gotta stay to myself. I don't want nobody to hurt me, so I'm gonna stay to myself. And if I branch out, it's fearful, it's intimidating. And because I love myself, I'm never gonna put myself in a situation to be intimidated, to be fearful, or to even fail. So I'm gonna stay where I'm at. Not realizing that is toxic. It's toxic self-love.
Right. It's like you try to prevent yourself from having anything happening.
Correct.
But some things is, it's a risk. And it's like you so busy trying to protect yourself, quote unquote, that, you're just doing more harm than good.
Absolutely.
And it's also toxic when it's selfish. When you only glorify yourself. Like, how many times people that it's all about them?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can come to you, I could be talking to you, hey, I got this issue, I got this problem. It always turns back around where the same thing happened to you, and we now talking about you.
Correct.
But I came with the issue. Or when I'm having a problem with you and I'm trying to address it with you, it always turns and it flips backwards on me. It's my fault. It's all about what I did, and you see no fault in you.
Absolutely.
You're Mr. Glorified, Miss Glorified, perfection, and you do nothing and say nothing wrong. So we got to be careful with that, because it's toxic when it's all about you. When you're moving in selfish ways, you have selfish tendencies.
Yeah.
And you know what that looks like when you're selfish.
Despair is the absolute extreme of self-love. It is reached when a man deliberately turns his back on all help from anyone else in order to taste the rotten luxury of knowing himself to be lost. You lost. You know you lost. And instead of reaching for help, you turn to yourself to get help when it's yourself that got you lost.
Okay. All right.
It is the ultimate development of pride, right? Despair is the ultimate development of pride, so great and so stiff-necked that it selects the absolute misery of damnation rather than accepting happiness from the hands of God, and thereby acknowledge that it is only God that is above us, that is capable of fulfilling the destinies that we have for ourselves.
Right.
We are not capable of fulfilling our destinies ourselves.
Right.
We are not capable of progressively becoming ourselves. We have to acknowledge that there is someone of grandiose fashion that has the ability to do what we cannot do ourselves.
Right.
And submit to that instead of allowing pride to rule your life. A man who is truly humble cannot despair. Because in a humble man, there is no longer any such thing as self-pity. It is rooted in a hopelessness and despair. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Hopelessness.
So human hope is linked to, you got your pens and paper?
Yep.
Write it down. Attachment.
Human hope.
Mastery and survival.
That's good.
Attachment is a hope of physical proximity, intimacy, emotional bonding, and spiritual unity.
That's good.
Mastery, a hope of productivity and accomplishment.
Correct.
Survival, a hope for overcoming physical challenges, anxiety, loss, and fear, and building resiliency.
Absolutely. You have hope in your life. When there's a sense of attachment to your life, when there's a sense of mastery in your life, and when there's a sense of survival in your life. When you are in physical proximity, emotionally with others, and even spiritually, when you are productive in life, and you're in achieving accomplishments and all the tasks that you put your hands to, when you overcome physical challenges, anxiety and fear and loss, and you build resilience, you are hopeful.
Right.
That's what hope is for the human experience. Yeah.
And when these needs are being fulfilled, we tell ourselves that everything is well and good in those particular areas.
Yeah.
And we act based on those assumptions.
Absolutely.
So when these needs are compromised or not being met during our development, we start to feel hopeless. And this leads to desperation. Remember, desperation is a state of despair, typically one which results in rash or extreme behavior. So an aspect of pride is a refusal to help, a refusal for help. And because a prideful person says, I'm okay, even when their life is falling apart at the seams. Now, I know we may know someone or even ourselves that when we're going through some things or things are really bad, we are just down and out. Hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm okay.
And you know your life is
and you're not. And it's just like we're so prideful that we don't want to address that. No, I'm not okay. No, everything is not okay.
Correct.
Because for some of us, it may be saying, it may be going against what we believe, our faith. But no, in this moment, I'm not okay. I'm not doing okay. Things is tough. Things is hard. Things are bad. It's okay to say that.
And you know you're falling apart. Even if you are unaware of yourself completely, you should have some modicum of awareness about yourself so that you know when something is off. You know when something is off about you. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, you know when just something is off about your life. And instead of asking for help or even getting help yourself, pride stops you from doing so. Because not only is pride telling others that you're good, pride is convincing yourself that you're good. And if you keep allowing pride to talk to you, pride and lead you and direct you, pride will stop you from getting the help and the resources that you need to become a fruitful and a productive individual in life.
That's it. So, like the attachment and mastery and survival, like we all crave that.
We crave it.
That's in our makeup.
We crave being close to people.
Right.
We crave accomplishments.
Right.
We crave being able to conquer our fears and anxieties. Right. It's in us.
It is. It's a part of us being human.
Correct.
And when it's not met or when it's not complete, we fall into a state of hopelessness.
God.
And I just want to say this. Hopelessness can cause us to act in ways that hopelessness is the dictator. So it will cause you like to withdraw from your family and your friends. It can cause depression, anxiety. It can also cause you to have lack of care for yourself and your personal hygiene.
Wow.
And it can cause you to make desperate decisions. Because remember, hopelessness is what's leading you. And that's what's dictating your actions and your movements. So like, for example, if you don't have any money, and you may need food, or maybe you just need some items for your personal hygiene, and you, at this point, you're feeling pretty bad about yourself. You're feeling pretty down, and you're really down in the dumps. And there are resources that can help you, or even people, that can help you. But the pride in you refuses to ask for help. So instead, you resort to desperate measures, where now you may be stealing or taking things, to make ends meet. And in this situation, hopelessness is leading your way, is leading your path.
Because you wouldn't ignore the voice of pride in your life. And all of us, I think, have been, if we are honest with ourselves, we have been in life situations that we needed help, that we found ourselves in a state of hopelessness. That is the reality. It is a consequence of being a human. All of us have been in hopeless situations in our lives. And we have two choices. We can stay there and as you said, be led by the hopelessness and by the despair, or we can ignore the voice of pride and say, hey, you know something? I need help.
I'm pretty sure a lot of us been there.
Yes.
In our life, but you've really been, know you needed help.
Correct.
But that voice inside of you didn't allow you to say, hey, I need help. hey, I'm struggling. Hey, I just need a helping hand. Because we don't want to be embarrassed.
Correct.
We don't want to look like we don't got it all together. Absolutely. We don't want to look foolish. You know, it's all about
keeping up.
Right. So we don't want people to know what's really going on. But sometimes, you know, it's needed because some people can, you know, help you out of that situation. Absolutely. Or help you through the situation.
Absolutely. Pride, and this is how pride keeps us stuck. This is how pride keeps us stuck and not moving forward in life. Because I don't care how well you think you are. Listen to me. I don't care how well you think you are. I don't care the amount of money you have in your account. I don't care the resources and the connections that you have. I don't care the fame that you have or how popular you may think you are. The reality is, as long as you keep living, there will come moments in your life that you need somebody else. Yeah. You will need help. You will need assistance. You will need to ask for resources. You will need help and direction from someone or something. And if you don't ignore the voice of pride in your life, the very thing that could help you won't help you because you refuse to ask for help. Pride keeps us stuck. Pride says, look at me, I'm well. At the same time, pride is talking to yourself. You can't let them see you like this. What will they think about you? There's no way you could ask for help. What would they think about you? All that Gucci you be wearing, and then you got the audacity to ask for help? You can't do that. Pride keeps us stuck, and it leads to desperate measures. So there are multiple ways in which this manifests itself. Right. Hopelessness. It is a voice that speaks to you. It is a voice that potentially may guide you, and there are multiple voices in hopelessness that speaks out of you. Right, and we got to go to one of the voices is the voice of alienation. Throw that in the comment. The voice of alienation. This type of hopelessness comes from feeling others have forgotten about you and does not include you as their equal. You feel different in some way, and bonding with others is a challenge because of these differences. Because you feel hopelessness about bonding with others, you reject and avoid them first. You build this fake wall up around you that denies the entry of others to protect the potential rejection that you'll experience in your life. Alienation.
I think I had this at some point because I used to tell Jamel like years ago, like, you know, people don't like me, you know, they don't include me, and, you know, they don't invite me to stuff. And I'm like, well, what's going on? You know, I'm fun, I'm excited, you know, I would go if they invite me. And it used to make me feel some kind of way where I felt like, you know, I was alienated. And it's like, you know, I know a lot of people, but I don't have a lot of friends. And then I see like people that I know, like they're hanging out together, you know, coming together, but I'm like, I don't get invited. So, you know, I used to feel, and that sometimes it used to make me feel really bad. I used to feel really down. So I'm just like, okay, they don't want to be around me, I don't want to be around them. Then
that's,
you know,
alienation.
And that's you know, that's what I did. And it's just like, and then what it did was, though, it kind of like kept me closed off, where I'm not coming up to you and, you know, trying to make conversation, or I'm not coming up to you trying to, you know, be all friendly, because I have a fear of you're going to reject me because of what I've put in my head, that nobody wants to be around me, nobody want to be my friend, you know, nobody want to hang out with me. So then it just caused me to close up myself and not, you know, branch out to see what else was out there as far as, you know, other people and friends, that kind of thing.
You created a narrative in your mind.
I did.
And then allowed your actions to coincide with that narrative that you created in your mind. And that's what alienation to do. You'll start thinking what other people think about you. And they may not even be thinking about that about you.
Right.
And then begin to build wars, as you said, and how can I say this? Self-preservation techniques to keep yourself safe and calm and happy. When there's a strong possibility they're not even thinking about you.
They ain't thinking about me. They ain't want to think about me. They weren't thinking about me. But it's all right. right. I'm good. I've learned over the years.
Yeah.
You know, thank God. That's not my way of thinking. That's not my way of moving. But it was at some point.
So if and perhaps that's you, right? Perhaps you build up this fake wall around you to keep others out, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you allow entry. Like you are the what's the guy that stands in front of the bar?
The bouncer.
You're the bouncer. You control who comes in. She was in the club last night. She was in the club last night. Somebody call her pastor.
The clubhouse.
The club.
Was that the clubhouse?
She was.
Right.
Her and somebody else. I will name no names. But I'm joking. But I'm really not. But yeah, you become the bouncer when you control who and what comes out of your life.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that may be well, right? And I think all of us need some level of discernment where we can recognize friends and enemies and those that are not good for us.
Right.
Yet at the same time, if you build this wall to protect yourself from potential rejection because of a narrative that you created, it will only lead you down the wrong path. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Alienation. Another voice of hopelessness is forsakenness.
Right. Hopelessness, and this case for being forsakenness is it comes from the feelings of others have abandoned you when you needed them the most.
Correct. Yeah.
And it was like we spoke about 2 weeks ago. You may feel rejected or stigmatized as well, and this leads you to distrust others and your surroundings.
Yeah. Another voice of hopelessness, and we got to go, but I really need to get to this one before we end. It's powerlessness. Somebody throw it in the chat. Powerlessness. Feeling you and your actions have no influence or impact on others or the world may lead you to feel hopeless. You may feel like you are devoid of strength or authority to make decisions or to effect change in your life and even in the lives of others, and you solely depend on what others decide to do. It is the voice of powerlessness. You do not believe you have any power to effect change, not only in your life, but in the lives of others as well. It is the voice of hopelessness. And let me tell you, you have got to get your power back.
Take it back. Take it back.
You depend on others to make decisions for you. You depend on others to control and dictate how you feel about life. You have got to take your power back. Do not believe that you have no authority and have no power to control the circumstances around you and control how you feel. No one, listen to me carefully, nobody should have enough power in your life so that they infect and impact the mood that you have when you wake up in the morning.
And
they should not.
We depend on others to make us happy.
Absolutely.
And that's like huge.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry to cut you off. And because of that, when they don't do that, we're not happy.
We're not happy.
When they don't come around, we're not happy.
Right.
When they don't show up, we're not happy.
Right.
And in what world have you allowed them to seize control of your happiness and your joy?
Right.
We gotta take it back.
It's true. Like happiness is like you have to create your own happiness.
Yeah.
Because if that person is not around or don't come around, I'm still gonna be happy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have that where you control my emotions.
Yeah.
In my life, or whether I'm happy or whether I'm in a state of happiness or in a state of sadness.
Correct. Yeah.
You're not getting that power over me.
Yeah. My life has to have joy, regardless of what you do or not do. This may be grammatically incorrect. I'm gonna have some joy. I am gonna have some joy in my life, regardless if you come or don't come, regardless if you call me or don't call. I'm gonna have some joy in my life. Because it's the joy that I experience that gives me strength. Joy gives me strength.
It's true.
And I will not be depleted because you decided to wake up one morning and not give me what I need.
All right, like that. That's good.
Powerlessness. It is a voice of hopelessness. And you gotta take your power back.
You gotta take your power
We gotta
back.
We gotta take it back.
So I mean, there's other voices that we want to discuss, but we'll pick that up next week because we don't want to.
Top of the morning.
We don't want to rush through that and give y'all too much, which is too much.
But, top of the conversation. Yeah.
So
take your power back. That's if you didn't hear anything else we did today, take your power back.
Take your power back, y'all. Put that in chat. I'm taking my power back today.
Correct.
Tonight.
I'm taking it back.
I'm taking it back.
If they don't call me, I'm good. If they don't pick up the phone, I'm well. If they don't ask me to go out, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm good. I am well. No one has that control over me.
Right.
Nobody has that much power over my life. They do not have it.
Right.
I create it for myself. Or you create the space you need to thrive in, create the space you need to be happy in, create the space you need to experience joy in, create the space yourself. Take back any power that you have given anyone else and say, I'm taking it back and I'm responsible for how I wake up in the morning. I'm responsible for the mood throughout my day. I'm responsible for the smile on my face. I will not allow you, your actions, your indifference, your intolerance towards me or others affect how I live my existence. I'm taking it back.
And a lot of times I think we move in that vein because it's like we always say, it's what the root of that.
Yeah.
That goes back to something. So if I'm allowing you power and control
the
over
voice behind
me,
the voice.
Then there's something else behind that.
Correct, yeah.
It's some type of insecurity that I have.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a point in time when we first got together. It's like I looked at Jamel like, okay, you my happy place, you know. And if you don't make me happy, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
No. What's behind that? Why do it's some type of insecurity that I have. Yeah. So it's a voice behind the voice. Yeah. So we gotta make sure you tap into that as well, because we can say we're gonna take the power back, but if we don't do nothing to get to the root of that voice, then it's just words. So we gotta make sure we get to the root of why we've allowed that power to be taken away from us before we take it back.
And be intentional about taking it back.
You gotta be intentional about that thing. A lot of these things that we're talking about, you have to put action.
You gotta show up
behind.
You have to become necessary.
Yes, you gotta do it. You gotta do it.
You have to become necessary.
You gotta do it.
Thursdays at 6 a.m. We want to pray with you and for you. If you haven't already, go ahead, go to our website. And give us your prayer requests. We want to pray with you and for you. Throw it in the chat, DM us, send a pigeon to our house. We'll accept it. We want to pray with you. We believe that prayer works.
Yes.
Hearing what I'm saying, prayer works.
It does.
It changes things. It changes people. It works. And we believe that on Thursday morning there's a change that's going to happen in our life. Hey, hallelujah.
Yes. So thank y'all again for joining us for another conversation. We'll see you on Thursday. Make sure you meet us at the Sunday Exchange on Sunday 9 a.m. You all have a blessed night.
And if y'all see her in the club, call her out because she ain't supposed to be there. Good night.